Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Lolonyo FM in Hohoi, Flow FM in Apawu, Ganga FM in Jirapa, KTU Radio in Koforidua, and Sky FM in Sunyai. We are live on X Spaces. We are on Facebook. We are on myjoyonline.com. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrol Soul, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Soul is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duro Plus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Dura Plus goes, water always flows. This afternoon, access to free quality healthcare, secure pension package, including retirement on current salary, as well as waiver on imported vehicles. These and more are key demands being made by the Ghana Medical Association to government.
Retirement on salary is not too much to ask for. We should not be made to pay the ultimate price of losing our lives and our homes in the quest of taking care of the vulnerable. Someone must care for the health worker.
We'll get to hear from the Medical Association, which says it will be forced to take a tougher stance if their conditions of service is also not signed and implemented by January 1, 2024.
The GMA will appreciate some urgency on the part of the Wages and Salaries Commission to bring closure to this process. The GMA has been patient. However, it is worthy to note that the labourer also deserves his wages.
But is government willing to give in?
Parliament passed the exemptions bill last year, and we are now repositioned to engage or in an engagement that we believe will manifest in this important pledge to ease the transportation burden of our doctors.
Also in this package, as government seeks more revenue measures in the 2024 budget, Joy News is learning there could be an increase in the excise duty, especially on tobacco products. But users say they are unfazed.
It's a welcoming news, but that wouldn't deter us from taking tobacco. Tobacco has been part and parcel of us, and it is with us. We will never leave tobacco. I started tobacco when I was 16 years.
Now, Member of Parliament for Ahafo North constituency defends 2 miners killed at Tepamfante for their alleged involvement in illegal mining, insisting they are innocent.
I mean, you walk into an environment, you are claiming that the people were attacking you or were they coming at you. Do you have any evidence to show that these people were armed in the first place?
We have sports.
CAF medical expert urges Ghanaian players to learn lessons following the tragic passing away of Raphael Jamina.
And much later, civil society organization Nature and Development Foundation advocates for amendment of environmental protection regulation following controversial mining license application to mine in the Kakum National Park.
It just tells you that there is no forest reserve in this country that is protected from mining. Every forest reserve is a candidate mining site under this new regulation. We already have enough in our hands with respect to illegal mining.
We'll get to hear from the Minerals Commission, which says it has rejected and deleted the application from its online register. That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu, and this is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for choosing us. We start off with the Ghana Medical Association, which is talking tough this afternoon and demanding huge from government. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, acting on behalf of government, has before it a list of demands captured in the conditions of service for doctors yet to be signed. But ahead of the signing, the GMA is making fresh demands. At the 65th General Meeting, President of the Association, Dr. Frank Siribo, said the poor working conditions of doctors makes it imperative that they are compensated adequately. Listen to the demands.
The biggest and the most important question is, who cares for the health worker? My candid answer is no one, not even ourselves. Health workers continue to pay out of pocket when we require health care, sometimes in clear contravention to what our conditions of service stipulates, of which full implementation has often become a pipe dream. We need to be protected from the workplace hazards. We need to be given a true accessible healthcare which is unambiguously free. We need to be compensated adequately for all the hazards we face. Our pensions need to be secured after we have sacrificed our bodies, minds, and souls. We need logistics and enabling environment to enable us heal ourselves so that we can have the mental and physical well-being to be able to heal the population. Retirement on salary is not too much to ask for. There should be an immediate reinstatement of the vehicle importation tax waiver for health workers. We should not be made to pay the ultimate price of losing our lives and our homes in the quest of taking care of the vulnerable. Someone must care for the health worker. Our Lord is not in heaven, but here on planet Earth. The employer should create the environment that will give him or her the assurance that they can seek reliable health care here in Ghana rather than run abroad with the least sign of ill health. What we are asking for is not an impossibility. We are not asking for the moon to swallow the sun. Neither are we asking for immortality.
Well, the Medical Association is also warning they may be forced to take a tougher stance if government fails to sign and implement the conditions of service by January 1, 2024. Here's the president of the association again, Dr. Frank Srebo.
The GMA will appreciate some urgency on the part of the Wages and Salaries Commission to bring closure to this process. The GMA has been patient. However, it is worthy to note that the laborer also deserves his wages. And our patience cannot be stretched in perpetuity. Again, let me remind our employer, any delays will not be rewarded, since we will demand full implementation of any agreed terms to be effective January 2024. Even as we negotiate, the existing condition of service is still in force, and hence implementation of every aspect of the document that becomes due will be demanded by the GMA, as was done for the non-basic salary allowance.
President of the Medical Association, Dr. Frank Srebo, there during the 65th General Meeting of the Ghana Medical Association. Well, the Deputy Minister for Finance, Abnosi Asare, assures government is working to implement the conditions of service, stressing Parliament has already passed the exemptions tax, paving the way for doctors to enjoy waiver on vehicle importation.
While recent macroeconomic challenges have affected our nation, including our healthcare professionals, I'm pleased to report that we are now witnessing signs of economic stability, which place optimism on the horizon. In the forthcoming 2024 budget statement, the government will outline our policy approach to further enhance economic stability and restore the purchasing power of our citizens. The chairman and president of GMA, I just want to assure you that we have made some progress, and very soon, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission will be calling a meeting to kickstart the operationalization or the finalization of your new conditions of service. And like I said, your conditions of service is bespoke to the GMA. We have been able to do it for the past 7 years, and I know this year will not be an exception.
But what really is the situation of medical practitioners when it comes to their conditions of service? Let me bring in Dr. Titus Bayu. He's a former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. Many thanks for your company. So I see the litany of demands that you're making on government: healthcare, almost free, compensation for the hazards of your occupation, pensions, retirement on salary, vehicle importation waiver, amongst several others. And you're asking for this by January 1, 2024? It does appear that I've just lost Dr. Titus Bayu, unfortunately, but we'll try and raise him back on the line. And we've been hearing from the president of the Medical Association, which says these demands must be given to them by January 1, 2024, else they'll be forced to take some tougher measures and take a tougher stance if government does not do this. We've been hearing from the Deputy Minister for Finance, Abnosi Asare, on this. Dr. Titus Bayu, thankfully, joins us back on the line. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Dr. Bayu. So I've been outlining the demands that you've been making on government, and you're asking for all this on the 1st of January 2024?
So I think I have to say good afternoon to your listeners and congratulate our new executives. At this same conference, we elected new executives of the Medical Association. So I cannot purport to speak on behalf of the association, but as a doctor and a practitioner, I would say that yes, what we are asking for is not too much to demand from anyone. The basic one is what our president mentioned there. We are providing water for people and we are testing. How do we reconcile that? Doctors have to still pay for their own health care. When we say it, people don't believe it. And the general public seem to think that a doctor never falls ill. But we do. And how do you work in a system where if you are sick, you are seeing other government workers benefiting and then you have to pay for it? If you come to retirement on salary, this is something we had made a request for, is in captured in our condition of service that we discussed. Till now, no level, no rank of a doctor gets to a point where they can retire on their salary. But we have other sector players where at a level in the security services, at a certain level, you can retire on your salary. We have the judiciary, they are doing the same. Why not the doctor? So, and our condition of service expired. There's a clause that says that we can keep using it until it's negotiated. The negotiation has opened, and we expect that they will finish it up so that the implementation can start from the 1st of January.
I know this is a question I would ought to put to the new executives, but really, since you still have your ears and eyes in this particular administration, I would want to find out from you, January 1, 2024, for all these demands, what is the road to this, implementation? We are in November now. Do we have any idea whether this is actually feasible?
So if you put your mind to it, but it's actually very feasible. It's a matter of government approving the conditions of service, signing it into an agreement, and factoring it into their budget. It's the reason why we've been talking about this. Budget is going to be read somewhere this week. We've opened this discussion mid-year till now. So why don't you conclude it and budget for it? I am assuming that they'll have some preliminary estimates they are putting in their budget to be able to implement this, unless there will be a deliberate attempt where they will sign the conditions of service and decide they will not implement, like they haven't done in our healthcare. And as you heard from the Deputy Finance Minister, the MPP party made a promise in their manifesto that they will restore our importation duty waivers for vehicles, for doctors. 3 years. In fact, let me say 7 years of their tenure is almost gone, and we haven't seen it being done.
But at least she made a concrete promise over the weekend. But really, have we considered the times that we are in for the demands that you're making?
I don't understand what you mean by the times that we are in.
The economic hardship, amongst others.
So in this same economic hardship, have people stopped driving their V8? Has the size of government reduced when Labour asked that to be done? Was it done? Is it only one side that is supposed to sacrifice? Is it only the doctor? Is the current economy preventing members of the executive from seeking health care? Is it being paid for by the government? And we who provide the health care, ours should not be paid for? Are some people more Ghanaians than others? The service that we render for people, we don't deserve the same service? I think that's a question Ghanaians should answer.
Definitely. I'm thankful that those questions are not for me. Dr. Titus Bayu is a former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. We'll have an extensive discussion on this, the 65th Annual General Meeting of the Ghana Medical Association on the Pulse at 3 p.m. With my colleague Elton Brobe. You want to catch it on the Joy News channel. Well, we'll stay a while longer on issues relating to the economy and ahead of the 2024 budget, which will be read this week. The prevalence of non-communicable diseases in Ghana is worrisome, killing over 94,000 Ghanaians annually, rendering others disabled. The government, through the sin tax, which has the backing of the World Health Organization, seeks to control tobacco use, but some smokers say the tax will not deter them. We'll hear from smokers and dealers in tobacco products shortly, but first, listen to Director of Programs at Vision for Alternative Development Ghana, Libra Musa, who says research findings indicate that tobacco industry is frustrating the implementation of the excise duty amendment law passed by Parliament last year.
Experienced a lot of industry, interferences, and which most of them were mostly, subtle. So we have to commission a study to ensure that we are able to identify some of the tactics that the industry use. And these tactics are not new. They are tactics that have been used over the years in many countries, especially when countries are eager or want to comply with the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, which Ghana is also a party. So they try to ensure that they are able to either derail or to ensure that undermine the process so that we don't get it, passed.
Well, my colleague Jacqueline Ansumaya brings us her interactions with smokers and tobacco product dealers.
We've been taking it since long, and it is something that boosts my immune system. Somebody can take something to build his immune system.
It boosts your immune system?
Yes, I like tobacco. Whatever you write there, I don't care. After all, even the current government, taxes here, taxes there, taxes wherever, but everybody is moving on. You cannot stop even the government on power not to impose taxes on certain things, but he's doing it. So if a group called itself has come out to say that they are putting on taxes on cigarette or tobacco, it's a welcoming news. That wouldn't deter us from taking tobacco. Tobacco has been part and parcel of us, and it is with us. We will never leave tobacco. No matter how much they increase it, we will smoke tobacco. Even if they put it 100%, we will still smoke tobacco, because tobacco is part and parcel of us.
Yeah. No, how long have you been taking
if I'm not mistakenly, I started tobacco when I was 16 years.
Wow.
Tobacco, yes, 16 years.
And how old are you now?
I'm now 48.
Even if they say they are going to sell tobacco, one stick, 20 cedis, and I feel to buy it, I'll go and buy it.
Joy News does not back the views that you heard there. Tobacco use is definitely bad for your health. Meanwhile, Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah has told Joy News the 2024 budget will seek to bring about economic stability by reducing the high cost of living and inflation. Speaking on the probe with me last night, the minister explained President Akufo-Addo has sanctioned what is called a growth plan, which has been approved by Cabinet to deal with the economic challenges currently being experienced.
The government's objective is to quickly bring back stability. Inflation went very high up, into the 50s, and through a lot of monetary policy interventions, it is coming down gradually. Cost of living is also very, very, very high, and the government has been working to introduce a number of measures to try and arrest, if not bring down, cost of living. Growth, which is important because that's what ensures that the economy is expanding and creating jobs, is something that was constrained in the last 2 years or so. I can tell you on authority that the president asked for a growth plan to be prepared, which growth plan was accepted by cabinet and is being infused into the economic policy. And so you will find some specific growth areas that the government has approved, that the limited financing should be made available to these areas so that those areas can expand and create jobs for a lot of young people.
That's Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah there. Well, the Member of Parliament for Ahafua North constituency, Suleiman Sanid, has defended 2 miners killed at Tepamfante for their alleged engagement in illegal mining. He claims the miners were going about a legitimate business at the sites designated for community mining since 2021. The 2 were killed in a raid by security operatives in a fight against illegal mining. Mr. Sanid acknowledged the Forestry Commission has raised some concerns on some practices, but cannot justify the recent exercise which resulted in the 2 deaths. He spoke with David Akwete on Love FM.
This site was launched somewhere 15th December 2021 by the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Breku Dukara. They were not committing anything that is heinous. They were not committing any crime. These are people who were working in an environment that was legitimate, that had been declared legitimate for them to work. And as far as I'm concerned, once the place has been designated as community mining site, anybody there is actually covered that.
Well, the allegations the miners attempted to disarm the forestry guards, resulting in the death. Mr. Sani wants a full-scale investigation into the incident.
In fact, the triggered of investigation into this using the police, because the police are also interested in that. They need to find out, because once human lives are lost, the police are interested in that. And we are actually also doing our own investigation behind the scenes. But David, what I'm saying is that the most important thing is that, I mean, you walk into an environment, you are claiming that the people were attacking you or were they coming at you. Do you have any evidence to show that these people were armed in the first place? They were making efforts to take your arms away from you. And then in the ensuing battle, nothing happened to any forestry officer. When they went to the police station, they never mentioned that one person or the other had gotten injured in the fracas. So it baffles me. This is something that, I mean, if you look at logically, you put things together, it doesn't gel.
Let me take you to the community where my colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku is standing by. Emmanuel, tell us about the mood in the community today.
All right, Emefa, indeed, the mood is quite solemn over here. I'm currently at the family house of Samed and Hashmul Osman, and it's a moody right here. They are waiting for the bodies of these 2 deceased persons to arrive. And as custom demands, they are Muslims, so they want to bury their departed soul. And so right now, when it comes to the family house, they are waiting for authorities to clear proceedings at the Tepa hospital so that they can retrieve the body and then bury it today as their custom demands. But when you come into the community, the youth here are not so happy with what has happened. And they tell me that the security force or the security task force have been to the community mining site at least twice. And they've been informed that it's actually a community mining site and not an illegal mining site. So they do not understand why the security task force will launch an attack on them when they know very well that they are operating within the legal means. So when it comes to the community, it's a bit tensious. The youth are actually telling me they want to revenge what has happened so far. So that is what is currently happening here at Pokukrum, where the deceased family house is. Emefa.
That's my colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku. Many thanks. While civil society organization the Nature and Development Foundation is blaming the Environmental Protection Regulation 2022, that's the LI 2462, passed by Parliament in November last year, for giving a private company the courage and legal backing to apply for a license to mine in the Kakum National Park. The CSO was the first to publicly raise concerns about the application by the company High Street Limited to mine in the forest reserve. Well, Executive Director Dr. Mustafa Saidu says government must reconsider the law and make the necessary amendment. We'll be hearing from him in a moment, but my colleague Maxwell Agbaba joins me in studio with details of a statement from the Minerals Commission rejecting and saying that they've deleted it from the online register. Well, tell us more, Maxwell.
Well, Emefa, the Minerals Commission says it is concerned about publications on social media that some civil society organizations in the country have vehemently kicked against the attempt by mining firm to mine in the Kakum National Park in the Central Region. The Commission wishes to inform the CSOs and the public that the application by High Street Limited was rejected and therefore cannot be processed or considered whatsoever. Consequently, the Commission has deleted the application from the online mining cadastre. The Commission wishes to assure the public that no mineral rights, whether for prospecting or mining, shall be considered or granted in the Kakum National Park. Emefa.
Thank you very much, Maxwell. We can hear from the Executive Director of the Nature and Development Foundation, Dr. Mustafa Saidu, blaming the audacity for the High Street Limited to apply for a license to mine in the Kakum National Park on the Environmental Protection Regulation passed by Parliament last year.
Very worrying because this application by the company is grounded under a new regulation that was passed in November last year that allows mining in all forest reserves with few exceptions. It just tells you that all the forest reserves in this country, including the Kakum National Park, can be put under mining.
That's Mustafa Saidu taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, proudly made possible by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duroplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Duroplus goes, water flows. We've been hearing from the Ghana Medical Association and their demands. They're asking for access to free quality healthcare, secure pension package, including retirement on current salary. All this by January 1, 2024. We return from the break with sports, and then the National Disaster Management Organization is warning of dire consequences if an earthquake strikes in Ghana, particularly in areas along the fault lines where indiscriminate constructions are underway.
Now that we have fractures everywhere, I can only imagine what will happen if we have an earthquake of a very significant dimension on the Richter scale.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Imagine say water wake up at dawn, e no bath, e no chop, where it vanished for your area for 2 weeks. You not get one drop safe inside your tank.
Hey.
Hajia, our life was in dangerous. Only our neighbor gets water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank gets meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selendion. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe. So say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! That's my boss, Mr. Poncho go talk.
Beautiful, durable, with water level indicator and accurate volume of water. Water tank. What a tank! By Duraplast.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports.
Yeah, Emefa, a heart-wrenching story I must tell you is about Rafael Jamina, who passed away at the age of 28 after collapsing in a game between Ignatia and Partizani. Now, Jamina lost consciousness and fell on the field during the 23rd minute of the game. Team doctors rushed him to the hospital, but their efforts to save him proved futile. It wasn't the first time Jamina had experienced heart problems, yet he continued playing football despite advice from CAF medical officer Dr. Prince Pambo to quit the sport. The medical practitioner spoke to Joy Sports after the unfortunate incident.
Very sad for every Ghanaian, and I can imagine these are extremely difficult times for his family, friends, fans, the football fraternity. Mixed feelings. I do not want to paint a picture that Raphael did not heed to advise. I think it just comes to the point where what people choose to put value on, and also how forcefully everything was communicated to Raphael, and what fate would have people end up in.
That's Dr. Prince Pambo, medical officer at CAF. Back to you, Emefa.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Mubarak, thank you very much. Let me take you back to the Ashanti region, where a mobile telecom provider has delayed in furnishing the Kumasi High Court with the transcripts of all call records of the missing Lands Commissioner Officer Rodeling Amwadako. The court has, however, ordered that the case in which a senior lecturer at the Petroleum Department of KNUST is accused of kidnapping his wife continues. Well, my colleague Ohiming Terry of our security desk was in court reports. The court also ordered the release of a Toyota Highlander vehicle belonging to Dr. Agri, which has been impounded since 2021. Here's the mother of Rodeling, Cecilia Obiniwa, appear.
On road that whoever finds her, or whoever has knowledge, or whoever knows where she has been kept, please, I am on my knees. It's my daughter I need. It's my daughter I need. It has been 2 years and over. It's not easy. It's not easy to bear with this situation. In fact, I need help.
Well, we know that the family has announced the 100,000 Ghana Cedi reward for the information on the whereabouts of Rodeling Amwadako. Now, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, is warning of dire consequences if an earthquake strikes in Ghana, particularly in areas along the fault lines where indiscriminate constructions are underway. Deputy Director General of Technical and Reforms at NADMO, Seji Saji Amedonu, says NADMO has started educational and awareness initiatives in communities identified as being the highest risk of earth tremors. Thousands in the capital were left terrified after an earth tremor Sunday morning. However, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority is urging the public to remain calm and go about their normal duties.
Staff are going around. The Geological Survey Authority is also doing some form of education. And I think there's some plan to get even media houses involved so that kind of education can be going out. Those who are putting up structures or who continue to put up structures in those areas, the normal processes of permitting, going through the assembly before you start any construction, must be followed. While it's a general problem of law enforcement in our country, until that improves, we'll still continue having this issue. The last earthquake that some damage in Accra was somewhere in the 1930s.
That's Seji Saji Amedonu there. Just before we go, let's focus on some performers who had tremendous prominence during their height, but for a variety of reasons, they appeared to fade from view and their presence in the music world dwindled over time. My colleague Jacqueline and Sumayabwa puts them in focus.
Ever wondered the phenomenon that surrounds making a hit song that's able to derive the desired response from thousands of listeners, jamming to it even years after its release? Today, we present to you a list of your favorite one-time hit makers. These artists were, however, not able to sustain their relevance with other hits. Our first is Ziggy. His one-time hit song, Gisi Waiting, was the talk of the day 13 years ago. We're waiting for an answer to that question. Now, the second is a Tumpan, who became quite popular 10 years ago with this hit song.
Just tell a little girl them, small girl, you don't know the thing.
You Were Chrome by Atom also made it on our list. A hit song that made its way onto our airwaves 7 years ago. The You Were Chrome hitmaker could not stay in town. Now, this song was for lovers. I mean, every time this song was played, it brought about memories. 3 years ago, Chucho Mucho became a hit. Bless could not sustain his blessings, and no hit has been made afterwards. For our last hit maker, S.J. Derby, coming through with a worldwide hit, Poverty. We'll end this list here, and the question remains, how were they not able to sustain their relevance like other hits? For Joy News, I am Jacqueline and Samaya Boa.
And that's our show for today. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensotable is up next. Have a good afternoon.